Tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary, live from Dolton, Illinois.
My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary, live from Dolton, Illinois. My people, you are tuned into Burgundy Blue Commentary, live from Dolton, Illinois.
Commentary Blue Commentary Burgundy Commentary Comment Blue Commentary Comment Burgundy Blue Commentary Blue Commentary Burgundy Commentary Commentary.
Hey guys, I just wanted to bring you some news. If you haven't heard already, let's talk about it. Let's read it together. Hit the like button as you come in. I appreciate you. So this is news that I'm just sharing with you in case you did not know. So this just happened today. It says Dolton, Illinois police officer charged in federal court with bankruptcy fraud. And it says in Chicago, a police officer for the village of Dolton was indicted today by a federal grand jury in Chicago on bankruptcy fraud charges for allegedly engaging in the scheme to conceal assets and income from creditors and prevent payment of the settlement of a lawsuit. A 9-count indictment returned this afternoon in U.S. District Court in Chicago. It charges Louis A. LACEY, 61, of Matson, Illinois, with bankruptcy fraud, making false statements and declarations in bankruptcy cases, and perjury. Each count is punishable by a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison. Arraignment has not yet been scheduled. The indictment was announced by Morris Pasquale, acting United States Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois, Douglas S. DePosta, Special Agent in charge of the Chicago Field Office of the FBI, and Ramsey E. Covington, Acting Special Agent in charge of the IRS Criminal Investigation Chicago Field Office. Ruth M. Mendonca, Inspector in charge of the Chicago Division of the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, and Hannibal Ware, Inspector General of the U.S. Small Business Administration. Valuable assistance was provided by the U.S. Trustee Program. The government is represented by Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason A. Julian and Special Assistant U.S. Attorney Brian P. Nettles. Now, we've heard that name over and over, okay? The officials noted that LACEY was indicted as a part of an ongoing federal investigation. According to the indictment, LACEY, since the 1980s, has filed numerous personal bankruptcy cases in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Northern District of Illinois, including petitions in 2019 and 2020. The recent petitions automatically stayed enforcement of a settlement agreement LACEY had reached in 2017 with the plaintiff in a lawsuit in state court. The indictment alleges that LACEY filed the 2019 bankruptcy petition shortly after the plaintiff moved to enforce the settlement agreement, accusing LACEY of still owing $43,000 of the $55,000 settlement. The indictment alleges that LACEY made several materially false and fraudulent representations in oral statements and documents submitted in the bankruptcy cases, including underreporting his monthly income and concealing bank accounts that he controlled. Among other things, LACEY falsely represented that he was separated from his spouse and that she did not reside with him or contribute to his monthly income and mortgage, the indictment states. The false representations allowed LACEY to fraudulently calculate his monthly income for purposes of repayment of his creditors as substantially less than it should have been if his spouse's contributions were included, the indictment states. During the charged fraud scheme, LACEY served as a police officer for the Dolton Police Department. The public is reminded that the indictment is not evidence of guilt. The defendant is presumed innocent and entitled to a fair trial at which the government has the burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, you guys. So let's go to your thoughts. Did you guys see this? We seen this before. Hey, Trina Downs, I hope you cover this. Has anybody what's your thoughts on this? So let me tell you my thoughts. We have about in the Southland, we got about 3 surrounding indicted mayors almost. So I just wanted to put that last part in, but this was the breaking news I just wanted to share with you guys. This is interesting. We know that the FBI is here, so it seems like they're chopping little by little. From what we understood, we knew July 29th. We talked about that on Late Night Crew, was a special day for Dolton. It was I think a grand jury day that we heard from over there. So and it's been whispers around Dolton that it was court on July. So we already knew this. So 12 days later. Oh, wow. You guys, let me tell you my thoughts. Only time is going to let us know what is going to happen. What is going to happen? I don't know how these investigations work. From what, if I had to tell you, and just watching like Casino or something like that, they start at the bottom with the little guys, and then they etch up and etch up and etch up. So maybe that's what's happening, or maybe it was a lot of different things happening that people got caught up in trying to be slick. I don't know, just lack of a better word. The only thing I can say is, does that matter? Does that mean that he's not at work now? Does that mean that LACEY's not at work now? That is something to think about. A lot of times I see reports on YouTube floating around. Tiffany is hiding, and I'll go to Starbucks and see she's in line with her briefcase. So it's things that we just have to be patient about, look and see what's going on. And I'm that was a joke, you know what I mean? But we know where she's here. Look and see what's going on. Only report the facts, and then we just go from there. Trina Downs, that's what I was thinking, right? The alphabet people. Mm-hmm. They're here. Yeah, it's something in the water conscious. It's called the carcinogen waste. I can never say that word, Trina Downs. Carcinogen waste dump. Hit the like button. 152 people in here. Please hit the like button. Put in the algorithm. Let me just catch up. Let's see. Oh, I love that comment. Bankruptcy fraud, the new wit sect. It's a lot of things I always want to talk about that we see online as entertainment. And clearly, if you're here, like I am, like Trina is, we see things totally different than what you guys see. Make sure you subscribe to Trina Downs' channel to get the factual information as she break it down. If I have any mods in here, can y'all put Trina Downs' channel in here? I think it's important to support Trina Downs because she's giving us that information. And it's also important that we only go through the factual evidence. Now, do you guys know, can I tell y'all about Dolton right quick? I told you guys before, it's the haves and the have-nots. And a lot of people, we see it's a town that ran itself. no ordinances, no rules, and no regulations. And that comes from all sides. Okay. So when I'm telling y'all, I'm giving you the both sides of the dollar, that comes from all sides. It's not just one person doing it. It's not just two people doing it. So you have to like really use your spirit of discernment and say, wait, this does not look right. So this is not, we remember it was supposed to be a protest or something. I think it was Friday. LACEY was minding his business at his desk. He at his desk. Or Keith Freeman is fired. Keith Freeman is minding his business, going eating his Dunkin' Donuts, sitting at his desk. You can't just believe what the news tell you. You have to really look into it for yourself and ask the questions like we did today. If you didn't see my previous video with the Alexis Wilson situation, yeah, we're going to rename the skating rink. But why we don't hold any of the officers accountable or ask any of the questions about why is this restaurant open an hour after whatever happened to this poor young lady? It's just Tiffany, Tiffany, Tiffany. I think all of this goes beyond Tiffany. My prayers, as always, to everybody involved. This is very, very, very interesting that this is going on. Thank you, Cynthia. This is Trina Downs. If you want, please, please, please. There's 2 channels I want to make sure you guys go to. Trina Downs, Conscious is 3. Choose Compassion. And of course, Late Night Crew when he gives us a breakdown late at night. All right, you guys. So this is the breaking news. Just so if you didn't hear it, let me drop the link for you guys to read. This was released, and we've seen, shout out to the Lansing Journal, we have seen this name a couple of these officers from the beginning when they got here. And you guys, it's nothing like in the movies. It's nobody. It's the when people say the feds are in town, it's just that people stick out like a sore thumb, so you know they're in town. That's it. That's all. It's nothing. It's not like people are using battery rams and anything or anything like that. It's just they're here. They're here. That's it. I'm gonna drop the link for a second for the people I know. So Trina, if you want to come up, Gardis, if you want to come up, Conscious, anybody have anything to say, the link is in the chat for the next 5 minutes. And I'm gonna read some of your comments. When are they gonna hold Tiffany accountable? It's an investigation. So we have to wait, right? So we just have to wait and see. I think that we're all as they say, on this Northern District of Illinois report, the public is reminded that an indictment is not an evidence of guilt. Tiffany hasn't even been indicted. She hasn't even been recalled at all. Like I heard the Roland Martin interview. Yeah, the numbers were there, but Tiffany Henyard was not a recalled mayor. She was not. So there we go. So she hasn't been recalled. She hasn't been indicted. You have to wait for the time to explain everything. We did see that she doesn't have credit cards on her person. We even heard the Lori report. No credit cards in her name. Who had the credit cards? The former chiefs and Keith Freeman, who's still working for the village of Dolton. So this is interesting. This is very interesting. I agree, Orbs. 284 people in here. Please hit the like button. We have 284 in the chat. Hit the like button. Potato Gaming, put Conscious in there. This is very interesting. Thanks, Potato. Everybody in here, I appreciate you guys. Thanks, Cynthia. What's up, JB? Okay, so what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Now, bankruptcy fraud. It's like everybody now is getting bankruptcy fraud. Do you see anything different that now all these bankruptcies? And you know what? It's so weird, you guys, that people are filing bankruptcy, but at the same time we're seeing they're making it's like this is where we got to put the pieces together. Are they just irresponsibly spending? Is that what's going on? Because now we're putting the pieces together where we see he's making $100,000 to $200,000 nearly in overtime, plus a base salary. How what you need bank what kind of lifestyle? And this also goes back to, if we go to the article, and this is no shade to Lacey, but just to everybody living in Markham, living out of town. That's where the people who work here don't even live here. And that goes for a lot of them, even elected officials. They don't live here. So they don't care as much as we do about our town. If we're here, it's just they just have to drive through. Then they can go home, save. Their kids can go to the best schools. They can live their life and still make a six-figure income over here. It should be that you have to live within a certain area. You know what I mean? I'm gonna bring up Gardis Watts, see if he has something to say. So right now, if you guys are just joining, hit the like button. We're talking about Louis Lacey, our deputy chief. He has officially been charged in federal court with bankruptcy fraud. This is breaking news. Hey Gardis, how are you?
What's going on, Bert?
What's going on? You heard the news?
Yeah, I saw it. You know, I mean, it's funny. It's almost like with cases like, say, Al Capone. You know, they could never get Al Capone on real criminal charges, and the only way they got Al Capone is through tax fraud or something like that. Most people who've known, Officer Lacey he's been accused of many violations as a police officer and has yet to face any criminal charges of any of his actions while he was a Dolton police officer. So I just find this ironic. Not to say that it's not it's not unjust, but he could have been charged with several other things while he was an officer on duty, years ago. But, obviously, he's been let to continue to be a police officer in the Dolton police force. And, and I think we've had this conversation, one of Tiffany's biggest mistakes was promoting him as deputy chief. Like, she knows his jacket. She knows, what he's done. And he's been doing this for years. And, now you have to question not just Tiffany, but the previous mayors. Why are you letting this guy be a Dolton police officer? Knowing some of the complaints, knowing some of the things that he's done, and it's just like continued until it finally, blew up in their face when Tiffany decided to make him the police chief and make him actually her personal security guard, which, I just kind of, I kind of shrugged my shoulders at that. So, I don't know if this is, if this is justice, then, whatever, but I mean, he should have been charged with several crimes that he's done as a police officer, in my opinion.
You think they're just maybe I wonder if they're just looking into the money right now. Is everything just money driven? Everyone's just looking directly into finances, not even like things that we saw on YouTube floating around, like you would speak, like the pullovers or the Easter events or things like that. I grew up out here, so I haven't had that experience, but I've seen people have different experiences for that. And I wonder if Tiffany brought him up because he's been here since Shaw. He's been here since Shaw, since the beginning of Shaw, I think. He's been here for years. So I agree. This is the only thing you have, bankruptcy. I'm with Trina. Trina said it seems like Whitsec. Whitsec.
Bert, can you hold on for a second?
Yeah, sure. It sounds like Whitsec going on here, y'all. We're getting all these bankruptcy situations. This is interesting, you guys. So if you guys are just joining us, we just found out that Lacey has been charged in federal court with bankruptcy fraud. And let's go over the article right quick. We got 400 people in here. Hit the like button. Let me go ahead and reread the article for the new people that just got here. And I also put the link in the description box for you, and let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Like, will Dolton survive this? Will Dolton survive this? And what does indicted mean to you? As we see, it's not that he's automatically guilty, but is it like you got the scarlet letter now, the scarlet eye walking around? Just let me know. This is interesting that this small town, everybody's coming here, and it's like almost a pressure cooker, right? It's almost like a pressure cooker. All right, it says Dolton, Illinois, police officer charged in federal court with bankruptcy fraud. A police officer for the village of Dolton, Illinois, and notice they didn't say chief because he was deputy chief at the time, but he never got to be officially our chief. So it says a police officer for the village of Dolton, Illinois, was indicted today by a federal grand jury in Chicago on bankruptcy fraud charges for allegedly engaging in a scheme to conceal assets and income from creditors and prevent payment of a settlement of a lawsuit. So we'll dig into that to find out which lawsuit. Settlement of a payment of a lawsuit. I believe he owed restitution to a certain area. I don't think it was a $33 million lawsuit at all. It says a 9-count indictment returned this afternoon in U.S. District Court in Chicago. It charges Louis A. LACEY, 61. I didn't even know he was that old, you guys. For real. Of Matson, Illinois, with bankruptcy fraud, making false statements and declarations in a bankruptcy case, and perjury. Each count is punishable by a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison. Arraignment has not yet been scheduled. The indictment was announced by, and I'm not going to read everybody's name here. I'll let that go. But the alphabet people, they announced it. The officials noted that LACEY was indicted as part of an ongoing federal investigation. According to the indictment, LACEY, since the 1980s, has filed numerous personal bankruptcy cases in the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Northern District of Illinois, including petitions in 2019 and 2020. So Tiffany came about in 2021, just so you guys know. The recent petitions automatically stayed enforcement of a settlement agreement LACEY had reached in 2017 with the plaintiff in a lawsuit in state court. The indictment alleges that LACEY filed the 2019 bankruptcy petition shortly after the plaintiff moved to enforce the settlement agreement, accusing LACEY of still owing $43,000 of a $55,000 settlement. The indictment alleges that LACEY made several materially false and fraudulent representation in oral statements and documents submitted in the bankruptcy cases, including underreporting his monthly income and concealing bank accounts that he controlled. Among other things, LACEY falsely represented that he was separated from his spouse and that she did not reside with him or contribute to his monthly income and mortgage, the indictment states. The false representations allowed LACEY to fraudulently calculate his monthly income for purposes of repayment of his creditors as substantially less than it should have been if his spouse's contributions were included, the indictment states. During the charge fraud scheme, LACEY served as a police officer for the Dolton Police Department. The public is reminded that an indictment is not evidence of guilt. The defendant is presumed innocent and entitled to a fair trial at which the government has the burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, guys? Any other words, Gardis?
Oh, okay. No, I stand on what I said about this being interesting, that they can only charge him on, finances and not actual, police misconduct or anything that he's done, since his time at, as a police officer. So
yeah, I agree. And I was debating if I was even going to talk about it, but I'm like, it's going to be talked about, so I might as well come on out here and talk about it. But yeah, it could have been a lot of other things that went on, but I appreciate that reference to Al Capone situation, because that is what it's like.
Well, I think part of it too is just the, kind of the system we live in. Um, Earlier, you talked about the officers that killed Alexis Wilson, um, who are officers in other cities, and it's interesting how we forgot about that because they never got charged for murder or even homicide. Like, I mean, like even at the least that should have been second degree murder or something. But um yeah, I mean, it's the case of we um policemen, protecting police misconduct in a basically a corrupt system.
Uh-oh.
and,
Oh, okay, you were breaking up.
and
Go
the
right
only way you can get, I mean, how many people in this how many people would file bankruptcy? Like Donald Trump has filed bankruptcy how many times, and he was our president and could
ahead.
possibly be our president again.
Yeah, that is true. He was proud of it.
Yeah, was he was basically proud of. But I mean, I think in this case, this was more bankruptcy fraud. Have they ever? You know what? I thought I read a story about him doing the PPP loans illegally as well.
Mm,
I'm not sure how how that went about, but um, yeah, I heard I saw somewhere, and if I find it, I'll forward it to you. But yeah,
yeah,
I saw somewhere that they were investigating his PPP loans that he took out, which was also you know a lot of fraudulence going on in that particular case as well. But yeah, just it's just pretty interesting how that goes about, and several people that we know are going to take credit for this, and you know I really don't care about that, but um yeah, I mean it may be a domino chain effect going on here, but Lacey, I mean there's still a question in the air whether he's still employed or not employed, because there's a whole tug of war going on between Tiffany and Keith Freeman, who
yeah,
apparently is still employed as the administrator of the village of Dolton, even though he's been accused of several things, including bankruptcy fraud.
no, but it was sort of
Indicted.
like, yeah, but look at the chicken wing lady, the chicken wing woman. They said she had bankruptcies and then became a director over the food at the school district, and she has several bankruptcies as well. So I'm not going to say that your past determines your future, but we're seeing a pattern here financially with a lot of things in the Southland.
Yeah, I mean there does seem to be a pattern here of financial misconduct. I guess I mean if you want to put it that way, which is illegal, but uh I guess at the same time it just, to me, it just doesn't still get to the core root of the corruption that has been going on, not just in Dolton, but just in most of the Southland. Um, the corruption on the police level is deeper than just this bankruptcy filing. Um, it used to be a time where police officers wouldn't either apply for or stay in, like, say, the Harvey Police Department because it was so toxic over there. And now it's like transferred over to the Dolton Police Department. Now nobody, wants to work for the Dolton Police Department because it's toxic. It's a toxic environment. And you don't want to work in a police department where it's toxic because there's so much corruption going on. You don't know um, what's going to happen if you don't take allegiances to certain things and adhere to certain commands from certain people, because you're working with a force that you depend on people to kind of save your life. And who's to say that somebody might set you up because you didn't listen to the commander or the deputy chief, or even the mayor uh, uh, tell you to do something unethical and you refuse to do it, and next thing you know, you die in the line of duty for some reason. But I mean, I'm hoping that's not the case, or the future case of any of the officers who kind of go against the grain. But it's a difficult situation when you think about this. But this is interesting.
Yeah, we're in a pickle, Gardis. I appreciate you calling in, and I always appreciate your word.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you, and I'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye. All right, you guys. I agree with Gardis with that Al Capone situation. Like, they couldn't get him. I should have asked him more before he left. Like, didn't Al Capone like have body on body on body? And then they were like, yeah, you didn't turn in your receipts for your credit cards. And I'm joking, y'all know that. But yeah. This is devastating, though, living here, to see that so many leaders are getting caught up in this situation, or if you want to say being exposed. The floodgates are opening. I always try to give you both sides of the story, and some things that do come across my desk, I don't report on them right away. But I want you guys to go ahead and give me a like, comment, and subscribe if you want. If you like me dropping exclusives fast and in a hurry, let me know if you like that, and I'll do more of it. Being here, sometimes I see a lot, I get a lot, I listen a lot. So if you like this kind of exclusive of me just being able to bring you the news quickly, I will do more of that. And as always, y'all know me, prayers to everybody involved, because at the end of the day, these people got families, and a lot of people might not know what's going on, what you doing, how you doing this, finding out people can you imagine, you guys, can you imagine dating somebody and he was taking you to Wendy's all the time, and then you found out he was getting $100,000 in overtime and never took you to a steak restaurant? This is crazy. People are being exposed. And we have to live here. Okay. Remember, these are real people lives. These people are still human beings. We only report the news over here. Just stay posted. I will bring more. Carefree says, yeah, it's not, the floodgates are not open enough. Next April 20th. I will bring more. You guys go over to Conscious. She did a video on Alexis Wilson. It was really good. She was able to give a breakdown from someone that does investigations, and that was dope. Orbs, I'm scared. Look, Molly, you in danger, girl. I am scared. I am shooketh. It's like this. I'm gonna play my favorite clip. This is my second favorite. We was just riding the bike.
So all I'm saying to you is, like, come on, guys, we got to do better. We have to do better. And all I can tell you is that I am a fighter, and y'all know that. So when you come for me, be prepared for the fight, because at the end of the day, they talked about Jesus Christ. So why don't I think y'all are not going to do me the same way? Somebody that's healing y'all and helping y'all. Same thing I'm over here doing, right? Healing and helping.
Right, asking another employee who went on that trip.
You went down to Springfield, and what were you hoping to do in Springfield?
You need to ask the people that handles that. I'm not the one that handled it. I was just riding the bike.
We need more.
Ain't nobody gonna approve that. And
y'all, stay tuned. I'll be back with another video. I wasn't planning to do this one. We weren't long-winded today.
Can I be recognized, Mayor?
You want to be long-winded? I'm just asking.
And for Chief, I only got a little advice, because this how I'm going. This how I'm gonna go down, Chief.
I got some clothes. I got some jewelry. The rest I got tied up in investments. I ain't got nothing else.
Take care of yourself and each other. Bye.
Commentary Blue Commentary Burgundy Commentary Comment Blue Commentary Comment Burgundy